Hi. I just I just froze there for a second. Hi, welcome to this video. As you can probably tell from the title, I'm gonna try to be read. What the fuck? I'm going to try and read Alchemy of Secrets before the year ends. So, first of all, I participated in the Secret Santa hosted by the Fantasy Fable Book Club, and my Secret Santa sent me Alchemy of Secrets. So, this is the first book in a new series by Stephanie Garber, and it is an adult fantasy as far as I know. And fun fact, I have read 7 books by Stephanie Garber this year, and I got this for my Christmas Secret Santa, like I said. And I'm really enjoying playing with the tassel on this bookmark. I'm so sorry if that's distracting, but I would like to finish this book before this year ends because because then I'd have 8 books by Stephanie Garber on my reading wrap up statistics this year. And I know it's like a little bit of a goofy reason to read this book, but why not? My bookmark fell out. Goofy reasons for a goofy person. Also, I am just obsessed with how well the tassel matches the foiling on this book. This bookmark itself was a gift from a friend, and I have been using it all year. Just look at it. This is from an Australian company called the Quirky Cup Collective, and she got it from me because she was based in Australia at the time, and I really love this bookmark. And yeah, I love how this bookmark is just perfect for this book. Okay, so here's my plan for actually trying to finish this book. So wait, let's back up. I'll tell you a little bit of backstory. I am also trying to read all 5 of the Percy Jackson books. Now, I don't absolutely have to read them in this year, but I would like to have finished The Sea of Monsters before the newest Percy Jackson episode drops. That's gonna be next Wednesday. Um, that means like 31st, which again gives me until the end of the year to read at least the first 2 Percy Jackson books. So I did start The Lightning Thief last night, and I am 127 pages into that book. So Percy Jackson is gonna take me less time than a new book would because one, it's a reread. Two, I reread those books every few years. So it's like the books are muscle memory at this point. 3, it's a middle grade book and it's written in a simpler language. And 4, again, I've read it and reread it so many times that I just breeze through it. So while they will take me a little less time to read, there's still 2 whole books. I'm still a grown adult with responsibilities and stuff. It's gonna take me some time, okay? And then I've got this whole new book, an adult fantasy with a whole new magic system and everything, new characters. So while this is only 310 or 20 pages, it will take me some time to adjust to this whole new world, right? 320 something pages. So I've made a reading plan for myself. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stick with it, but the plan is to finish my daily goal with Alchemy of Secrets first, and then pick up my Percy Jackson for the day. Okay, so here's how I've broken it down. I've basically marked down every 100 pages in this book, and the last 20 pages I can either read the day I get to the last three like last 100 pages, or I can wait until the next day and read the last 20 pages. That's like up to me at that point. And we all know that the first 100 pages are going to go much slower than the last 120 pages. So that's my reading plan. Full disclosure, okay. Okay, so today's date is the 26th of December. However, I spent almost all day planning some videos, and now I am trying to watch Stranger Things before I see a spoiler. I may or may not have stumbled upon a spoiler as soon as I opened Tumblr. I opened it to check on something else, and the first thing there was a ticket that said something that I was here before XYZ was canon. And I'm like, I did not need to know that it has gone canon in this episode. I did not need to know that. But here we are. And this is exactly why I have to watch the show. because I post online, so it's not like I can just be offline the entire time. I might open YouTube and see another spoiler. I might open Instagram and see another spoiler. So today I think is going to be all about binging the Stranger Things episodes, and then starting tomorrow, which will be the 27th, I think I'll be able to read at least 100 pages over the weekend, and then throughout the week I should be able to finish this book. So join me on this vlog and wish me luck. I'll see you soon. So today's Saturday, it's the next day, and I've started reading Alchemy of Secrets, and I'm actually 92 pages into this book. Um, so let me just talk to you a little bit about it, but before that, let me give you a disclaimer. So I am here in my balcony. These are my Diwali lights that I kind of keep all year round, because if I want to set a vibe, I can just set a vibe. And behind me, you can see the wonderful, wonderful, highly polluted air of Delhi and NCR, where sunlight is barely making it through. Like this, my hand is in sunlight. This is what we get in the name of sunlight, and it's only about to get worse as the winter peaks. I hate winters. So, yeah. Also, I have been experiencing a flare up today of my injury, my condition, and honestly, I'm pretty miserable. I can barely even put a foot on the ground. Even sitting like this is not that comfortable. So, I'm just gonna vlog here and then probably go and lie down. But the silver lining is that it frees me up to read. Another thing that I want to share before I talk about the book is this lumpy, grumpy sweater that you see me wearing with the sleeves pushed back all the way. This is actually um, this is the second sweater that I ever made. In fact, this is the second thing that I ever crocheted, and it's made up of all the practice squares or the mismatched or wrong or loose squares that I made when I was learning to crochet and making my original sweater, which I'll like try to find a picture of and put it right here. So that turned out wonderful, although it did not really survive getting washed. But I also made this one, and I've now been using it as a sleep sweater because it's really cozy and really warm. And like I mentioned, I hate the winters. I hate being cold. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So yeah. Okay. So Alchemy of Secrets is this book about a class that is held in an old movie theater, and it's a class that's not listed on the university website or anywhere on the internet, and it's not like official in any way. And you just find out about this class by word of mouth, and if you manage to make it there, if you manage to find the class being taught by this teacher known as the professor, then once you complete the class, you get the credits in your transcript. But it's not advertised, it's not mentioned, no one really knows about it, like ordinary people don't know about it. And our main character, her name is Holland St. James, and she has always been convinced that magic is real. So she clearly has something in her past that we don't know about yet, but she talks about how she was raised on like treasure hunts and myths and solving the mysteries, and that is why she chases down urban legends and mysteries and tries to figure out and like very very firmly believes that magic is real. So one of the things that I'm liking about this book is that it is alternating between second person POV and Holland's POV. So it starts with us, the reader, like going into and attending the professor's class. And every few chapters, there's an interlude where we learn a myth or two. And that kind of like ties in with what's happening in the story. And it's also really cool. Like, I feel like I am a part of the story, I'm a part of this magical world. The chapters are short, and that is keeping me engaged. The writing style, Stephanie Garber is amazing. Like, she has a very specific writing style, and I've always adored it. Like when I was reading Caraval and things were being narrated from Scarlett's perspective, Then everything was being described in color. It was so vivid, it was so descriptive that you couldn't help but see every single thing that you were reading about, like imagine it in your mind's eye. And similarly with the ballad of no with Once Upon a Broken Heart, with Evangeline's perspective, like she was another person who was raised on stories and stories of the magnificent North and stories of magic. And with her, also, there was an additional layer of descriptiveness, but that both of those stories, they were set in a completely different fictional universe where there was magic. With this story, something that I am liking is that it starts off in Los Angeles and she's discovering the magic, right? There is a magical world, there are magical elements, but we're stepping into it from our world, and the way that she weaves it together is just brilliant. Also, I like how she sometimes personifies things that have no reason to be personified. Like, hold on, let me find this one paragraph that I read. Okay. The next morning arrived slowly, reluctant to perform a job it had grown tired of doing. This just tickled a nerve, I guess. I like that the morning is tired of performing the job of arriving, you know. And then there's, let me just read you this whole paragraph, right? The next morning arrived slowly, reluctant to perform a job it had grown tired of doing. Holland woke up to thick silence. There were no chirping birds, no cars rushing down the street, no creaking floorboards as her house stretched awake. For a second, she swore her heart didn't even beat. Like, I love the way I love the construction of these sentences. I love the way that her house is stretching awake and her heart isn't beating. It's like stillness. She's describing stillness. She could have just written everything was still, but no. There were no chirping birds, there were no cars rushing down the street, and the house was stretching awake, and her heart did not beat. That was so cool. So, I am almost 100 pages in. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be able to achieve my target for today, and I hope that I can even cross it. But let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. Let me just talk a little bit about what's happening plot wise. So, this is Holland. She has a twin sister, January, who works abroad and moves around a lot. She's currently dating a guy named Jack. Oh, side note, when I started reading this, I misread Jack as Jax, the guy from the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. And when after a certain point she remembers that I'm dating Jack, and I was like, no, you're dating Jax. And I had to go all the way back because I was convinced that I had read Jax, not Jack. Jax. I was convinced that I had read Jax, not Jack. Anyway, so she's with a guy named Jack, and they're about to go on their third date. And she is like a little nervous because she hasn't made it to a fourth date in a while. And she really likes this guy and she wants this thing to last. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy, like a really nice, perfect, ideal, good man. And sometimes she even wonders if he can be real. So they go on their date, and then she notices a poster with the initials WM, which stands for Watchman, which is which is an urban legend that she has learned in her folklore 517 class. And she really wants to explore it. She really wants to know if it's real. Like, half of her is convinced that magic is real and therefore the guy is real, and half of her is like, maybe somebody who attended that class has now decided to scam people. So she goes down a seedy alleyway, goes into a um, it's a shop that sells clocks and stuff, and there she finds somebody. And so the legend goes that if you go and ask the watchman the time, he'll tell you exactly when you'll die. And sometimes he'll also tell you how you can extend that, how you can get more time. So it's all really interesting, it's all really magical, and that's how the adventure starts. And it doesn't even it takes a while for things to really go downhill, but the world and the way that it has been created and curated is really cool, and I'm really enjoying myself at the moment, and I'm really breezing through this book. It feels like an easy read. I love books that have like a captivating plot line as well as short chapters, because then you're just like, oh my god, I need to know. And then you flip through the chapters, and just the sense of making it through so many chapters keeps you going, because you feel like, yes, you're making progress, yes, you're accomplishing it. And yeah, so that is my progress so far. And I'll catch up with you guys a little bit later to let you know how I'm doing with this book. So I've finished reading 100 pages of this book. I Things are happening. Things are happening. So that's like officially my target for today. But I think I'm gonna keep reading, and I'll see you guys in my next update. So today is day 3 of this vlog, and day 2 of me officially trying to read Alchemy of Secrets before the year ends. It is a little bit sunny today, so I'm sorry if I'm squinting, although my glasses are supposed to be photochromatic. I don't know. This is still my balcony. I just turned around, and outside is still as bloody, foggy, and smoggy as usual. AQI this morning was 670, so we've got that wonderful, wonderful Delhi air. And now that I've given you other updates, hold on, I didn't give you all the updates. This so since I was wearing a crocheted sweater today, how about I tell you about another crocheted wearable or two? So this is Howl's jacket from Howl's Moving Castle, his very famous signature jacket. Hold on. Yeah, I crocheted this for a cosplay that I did a couple of years ago, and I love this so much. This is so warm and cozy, and this is all single crochets. I'm insane. Like, why did I do all single crochets? And then I'm also wearing this like cropped sweater thingy, which I also made. It's like a lemon peel stitch. So it is stretchable, and it's got like these straps that you can tie. I'm sorry, I think I lost the audio. It's got these straps that you can tie right here. They've fallen because of the sweater on top. So yeah, I'm wearing other things that I've crocheted. Anyway, so talking about the book again. Yesterday, at about 100 pages, the drama was really starting. The plot was plotting. So our main character, Holland, she had gotten a visit, actually, a home visit from someone who claimed to be the employee of this like weird mystical bank. And that person claimed that someone had leased a lockbox 15 years ago and dedicated it to Holland. And now that the lease was expiring, she needed to either come in and see what it was, otherwise, it would be incinerated or destroyed or something like that. And our girl is concerned, she's curious, and she's also a little apprehensive, because 15 years ago there was something that happened in her life that kind of destroyed everything, tore everything apart, and the timing that the person mentioned was just a little too uncanny for her. So she's conflicted by this, and then um, she goes and meets this new faculty at her college, and then after that things start happening. People start literally dying, and people start trying to kill her. She gets semi kidnapped while running from the cops. And turns out that our main character, Holland, is supposed to find an artifact, like a magical artifact called the alchemical heart, the symbol for which is on the book. Yeah, so she's supposed to find the alchemical heart in a little more than 24 hours, otherwise she's gonna die on the 31st of October at 11:59 p.m., because our guy, the watchman, has finally answered and told her the exact moment that she's gonna die. So she teams up with this mysterious bodyguard slash kidnapper figure. My phone ran out of storage and I had to like rush and make some space. But we are so packed, baby. So Holland has to team up with this kind of a bodyguard, kind of a kidnapper guy that her twin sister January has sent. And she's not really sure if she should trust him or not. There's this other guy who was pretending to be a faculty at her college. He shows up. There's struggle. There's more gunshots. There's a lot that's going on actually. And that's when January remembers the lockbox that someone had left her. And now this is where the part about the urban legends and folklore being shared with us, the reader, in the first person perspective ties in. Because there was this one particular story about a chained library, and inside that chained library there was a particular book that went missing for a while, and when it returned it was empty. And so the theory is that inside that chained book was some sort of magical artifact, and there's a list of numbers that accompanies that book, and turns out that they are months, and the most recent number in that book, or the latest one, is 102025. That's October 2025. So now people are like, the people of this magical world have the belief that the alchemical heart, which is supposedly the object inside this book, is going to show up in October 2025. And somehow Holland is tied up in all of this. After this point, I'll try not to give you any more plot points since I'm a little bit past the 100 pages now. So, yeah, for the reading update, I read up to 100 pages yesterday. I was really excited, I was really eager. I went and lay down and tried to read, and I fell asleep after 16 pages. So, currently, I'm at 142 pages, and now I'm gonna try to finish my 100 pages for the day, and then I'll talk to you guys about how I'm doing, how the book is feeling. I'm still enjoying the short chapters. I'm still enjoying that there's always some sort of cliffhanger or something new or something that makes you want to read further, that happens at the end of each chapter, and then by the time it gets resolved you're almost halfway through the next chapter, and then there's a build up and then another anticlimactic or some sort of thing that happens that makes you want to read the next chapter. So this book is really engaging, and that's something really enjoyable for me at this moment. I never knew that this was the book that I needed to read right now. So yeah, I'll get back to this one. So today is the next day, and I finished reading Alchemy of Secrets. Actually, finished it last night. I stayed up a little late, but I was just so mesmerized by this book that I just didn't want to stop reading. And then before I realized it, I was at like 317 pages, and I was like, oh damn, that's like 7 pages to go. And I just ended up finishing this book. So multiple things happened. There's a lot that went on in this book, and as I might have mentioned, this is the first book in another new trilogy, I believe. So it did end with some questions. I enjoyed this world, I enjoyed the pacing, I enjoyed the mystery. But there was one thing that like really, really annoyed me about this book, and it's that our main character, Holland, she is too naive. She'll just believe literally anybody. Some person will be like, hey, hi, you need to trust me, and don't trust the other person, and she'll immediately be like, okay. And then the other person will be like, no, 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 don't trust that guy, trust me. And she will. and then some third person will show up who will have had a different role in her life, but say, hey, I know that I've betrayed you, I know that I've pretended to be your friend when I was actually undercover this whole time, but I need you to trust me. And she'll be like, okay, that's, this is supposed to be a 25-year-old woman, but she behaves literally like a 3-year-old. I have a cousin. When she was 3 years old, she was a very social toddler. Anybody would say, you want to come to my place, let's go, and she would happily start walking off with the stranger. Holland is exactly like that. Another thing that was annoying me is that right in the beginning of the chaos, there's this guy, the bodyguard, the bodyguard slash kidnapper that I was talking about. He shows up. He's like, "Your sister sent me to protect you, so now you need to come with me." And she just does that. She doesn't check in with her sister. I At this point, I could march into the book and go up to Holland and be like, "Hey, your sister sent me." Like, girl, do some recon. Maybe call your sister, who all these people are claiming that they have been sent by. How does everyone know your sister? Just check in with your sister, damn it. So, this was supposed to be an adult fantasy, didn't feel like that adult. But, honestly, this is much better than The Book of Night by Holly. Not Holly Jackson. Who's the writer of The Cruel Prince? But honestly, this is better than The Book of Night, which was the writer of The Cruel Prince's adult book. I only read The Book of Night. I know that there was supposed to be a sequel. It's probably released by now, but I did not like that because just to be dark, there were too much. There was too much violence. There were too many overtly like weird dark themes. I did not enjoy that story at all, so as compared to that, I really really liked this. But it's supposed to be an adult fantasy. Why is your character not behaving like an adult? Like, I get it that she is the more whimsical of the two twins, but just because someone is whimsical and believes in magic and wants like more whimsy in their life does not make them a moron, in my opinion, which Holland honestly was behaving like. um, why is she so naive? And with such a dark past, how can she be so naive? How can she trust literally everyone? Like, how does this woman not have a whole slew of trust issues? That was the only thing that was annoying me. Like, it was getting annoying. Like, girl, pick a side. How are you trusting every single person? And how are you distrusting that person after 5 minutes, every 5 minutes? Just pick a side. I understand that this there's supposed to be a lot of mystery and myths and changing pieces, but it felt like this story was relying on her naive to create that mystery. Like, the mystery is, I don't know if I should trust this person. Okay, so this new person is saying that I shouldn't trust the other person. Okay, so why is that the thing that is being used to create the mystery? So yeah, that was my one gripe with this book. But other than that, I've already like told you guys all the things that I've loved about this book. And I also really like the cover. I went on Goodreads and apparently someone was complaining about the cover giving them a jump scare. And I was like, why? This is pretty standard for a Stephanie Garber cover. And then I actually saw the alternate cover on Goodreads. And so I'm really, really glad that I got this cover, this gorgeous cover that goes so well with the tassel of my bookmark. Yeah, so this has been my reading experience. So today is 29th of December, Monday, and we have 2 days left in the year. And I'm glad that I read this. And now I'm gonna have 8 books by Stephanie Garber on my reading wrap up, which is cool. And after this, I think I'm gonna continue with Percy Jackson, which I had paused for the sake of finishing this book. And I'm really glad that I was able to finish this ahead of schedule. And I love that this was a book that let me do that. Sometimes books can be a drag if they're not well written enough. So yeah. And I would just like to thank my secret Santa from the Fantasy Fable Book Club for giving this book to me. And I've loved reading this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye. Before I end this video, I would also like to give you guys an AQI update because right now I'm sitting in my room and not even chancing the balcony because last night the AQI was 1011. I live in literal hell. Okay. लिपस्टिक क्या मस्त लग रही है.